Everyone. My name is Francesca Billeri. I'm from Italy, but I'm doing a PhD research in London at School of Oriental and African Studies. And my PhD research is about the adaptation of some Khmer wedding song to other Khmer musical genre, in particular the plenaria, which is a genre relating to the animistic belief of the Khmer, and some kinds of popular theater, Lacan Diké and Lacan Basak. But this evening I'm going to talk about my previous research about traditional Khmer wedding music that I conducted 5 years ago for a completion of my master's degree at Rome University under the supervision of Professor Giovanni Giuriati, who is one of the few researchers of Khmer music in Europe. And so I will briefly introduce my research aims, and then I will present the ritual objects of the wedding ceremony and the Khmer wedding musical repertory. The plenkar musical instrument. Plenkar is the name of the Khmer wedding music, and the principal rituals of the Khmer wedding ceremonies, and then the conclusion. So, first of all, I would like to explain the reason why I decided to come to Cambodia to study music. I discovered this wonderful world during a lesson when I was a student in Rome, because, as I mentioned before, my professor was a specialist of Khmer music. So I decided to study this music, and I'm very passionate about Khmer music. And the second reason is that really few studies has been conducted, especially about this popular genre, because many studies has been conducted about the royal ballet, the classical theater, which are World Heritage of the UNESCO. But the popular genre are really few studied and unknown. As you can see, these studies about plenkar music trace back to the 20th century, and they focus especially on the ceremony aspect of wedding. No musical analysis is made, and the song tests are not analyzed, so music is just mentioned. There are some song titles mentioned, and there is no any details about the musical aspect. And so my research aims are to examine the role of music in the wedding ceremonies and the way in which they reflect the Khmer life and society, and to document, also preserve the wedding repertoire, because in my study I collated and classified more than 50 plenkar songs according to the context in which they are performed during the wedding ceremonies. I will briefly introduce the ritual offer of the Khmer wedding, which reflect the Khmer religious syncretism, in which Theravada Buddhism, Hinduism, and animistic beliefs live together harmoniously. And therefore, wedding ceremonies express the dense and complex Khmer cosmology and symbolism. The wedding ceremony is considered to be one of the most important ceremony for the Khmer, and it is believed to be of mythical origin. In fact, some ritual, as I will explain later, recall an episode of the myth of Priatang Niet, which are the first rulers of the Kingdom of Cambodia. Also, the plenkar musical instruments are considered of mythical root, as linked to some legend of stringed instruments of Indian origin called pin. That's why we have another genre of Khmer music which is called pin tiet, which is the classical genre, because it reminds of this kind of instruments which are depicted in the bas relief of Angkor Temple. So the picture that I'm going to show are pictures that I taken during the ceremony, because I attend several ceremonies. I recorded the music that I analyzed, the song test and the musical aspects, and also I analyzed the ritual object. In this picture we can see some Khmer traditional sweet, the Num Kom and Num Monsom. These objects are of Hindu origin because they represent and embody the sex of Shiva and his wife Yuma. And also here you can see this one is called the popil. It's like an object made of metal, leaf shape or object that represent, in which is tied a small candle, which also represent the sex of Yuma and Shiva. Also, this object is also of Hindu origin. And these two small boxes are called Taungrong, and they contain other small box inside, and they are used during another ritual of the wedding called the Piti Pisasla, where the parents of the groom and the bride eat this leaf, the leaf of Zla. And then here you can see better, these are the Taungrong, which I just mentioned. And under these flowers there is a sword, and the sword with its scenes represent also Shiva and Yuma sex, and that's it. These are the ritual object used during the katsop, which is the ritual of hair cutting, where the singer symbolically cut a lock of hair of the bride and the groom. This is the sword that I just mentioned. Now, about the Plenkar music repertory, as I told before, there are completely absence of written source, except for these few studies. They are very old, and the music played during the wedding song is based on the musical improvisation process, which is briefly each musician, each instrument play a different melody, but they play the same note in particular point of the performance. So they call this bamplau, take different roads, because they start from the same notes, then they embellish the melody with their creativity, the other notes, and then they meet again in particular point in some fixed notes. So this is called the musical improvisation, which make this music so fascinating. Then I divide the repertory in the main repertory and additional repertory. The main repertory is played during the principal rituals and describe the song test, describe the ritual scene, what's happening on the ritual scene, and the additional repertory is played during the transition moment when the spouses change their clothes, so the ritual scene is changed. And the themes of the song test are love, Khmer moral social values, mythical episode, and natural scenes and magical animals. Briefly, these are the instruments of the Plenkar ensemble. This is called the Plenkar ensemble Samai because it's the modern one. You can see a lot of these in Phnom Penh, of this instrument. These are the Tro'u, the score, which is the rhythmic part, and the Take, the Kloi, And this is an instrument that has of Thai origin, and this is the tro sao. This is the plenka boran, the ancient instrument, which is harder find in Phnom Penh. It's mostly they are mostly used in the countryside, in the province. You can see this instrument is called the sadief, and this is the Khmer, chin, peyo, chapei, and this is a trou and score. This picture has been taken in Takeo province, where live this old master that has been declared from the UNESCO as a world living human treasure, because he is the only master of this instrument, sadief, that is nearly disappearing. And he's a specialist in Khmer wedding music. He used to work for the Cambodia Living Arts, now he's retired, and he teaches this old instrument to the young in his hometown. The first ritual of the Khmer wedding is called the Piti Om Rong, the groom's pavilion, because in the past the groom celebrate the ceremony into a pavilion that was placed near the bride house, and the bride celebrate with her family the ceremony into her house, and then they meet in the third day, because the wedding lasts 3 days. Nowadays, bride and groom are away together as in the first day, and the ceremony lasts around 2 days because of the economic, because it's a very long preparation. It takes a long preparation, and also, so it's really expensive to organize a wedding. That's why the length of the ceremony depends on the economic condition of the family, and also, basic because of this. So during these rituals, the two singers evoke the god Preapiznoka, who is the god of the musicians and artisans, because they want to ensure a very good performance, because music is considered as an offer to the god. And during this ritual, they sing this song called Om Rong, and as you can see, the text song is an invocation to the god Preapiznoka. Audio. And this is during the first day, in the afternoon, is celebrated the South Moon ritual. This is the only ritual in which the monk participate, and this is the monk are the only components of the Theravada Buddhism, which is there is in the wedding ceremonies, because mainly the rituals recall Hindu object, Hindu god. So this is the only moment which is Buddhist. And the monk, after this sort of blessing and prayer, leave the house of the bride, and they will not participate in other rituals anymore. Just this, they bless the groom and the bride to exorcise the illness and realize the spouse's desire. And this is the PT icon come along. This is the second day in the very early morning, which is the groom procession. The groom go to the bride house. Is accompanied by three witnesses. They carry this umbrella, which is represent the royalty of the groom, because as I mentioned before, the wedding recalled the episode of Priyatang Niet, which are the first rulers of Cambodia, and these are the family, other people are the family of the groom. They carry offers, especially fruits, candies, sweets, and they are accompanied by few musicians. These two musicians play the Khmer, sorry for the pronunciation, which is this kind of gong that represents the transition between one rituals to another. So they play this gong to signal the end of a ritual at the beginning of another one, because the wedding ceremony, as you see, is a succession of rituals. Each rituals represent different aspects of the wedding: the eternal union, the magical blessing, and the fertility, and so on. During this procession, they play Chao Priyam. Chao Priyam is a Brahmin, and that is believed to have divine power. And this ritual has also a social meaning, which is represent the journey of the groom through the rituals that transform him into a husband. So passage from the childhood to adulthood. This is a subsequent ritual, which is a Piti Kat Kanzla. I mentioned before, this ritual is when the parents of the spouses eat the leaf of zla, and the groom and the bride are not present in this ritual. This is a ritual of the two families, because it embodies the alliance between the two families. This is the Piti Replecher, ritual of counting the fruits. In this ritual, the singer are the protagonists. These are the two singers, and the female singer collect different kinds of fruit. Traditionally should be around 36 kinds of fruit that she should put into this tray and then give this tray to the families. And the singer behind her lists the kind of fruit that she's going to collect. If you see different people, it's because these are different ceremonies that I combined. I don't know if you can hear. And this song is played by the ensemble Boran, which is the older ensembles. You can see this sound, like strange sound, is like it's the payo, the instrument, the wind instrument that I showed you before. This is another moment in which the singers are the protagonists of the ritual scenes. It is the ayai. Ayai is a genre which is independent from the plenka. Nowadays it's very common on television. It's a satirical dialogue between two singers. And in the wedding ceremonies has a particular function because the two singers embody the Teboda and Teptida, which are like the angel. They go to the royam of Shiva, and Shiva songs, Indra, give them the ritual objects of the cutting hair rituals that I showed you before, and so they have the duty of bringing these objects to the spouses during the ceremonies. And this now will play it so you can see this, you can listen this dialogue, which is the singer improvises on a fixed melodic pattern, and this dialogue has like an open-ended structure because it is functional to involve the audience, who inspire the singer to improvise. And this is the Petit Kasok, the hair cutting ritual. The singer symbolically cut the hair of the both the bride and the groom, and then spread the perfume, which is a symbol of purification. Actually, the ritual of purification in the past was performed with a bath, a ritual bath of the bride and the groom, but nowadays it has been replaced by the perfume. During this ritual is performed Tropian PA, which describe this ancient ritual of the purification of the bath in which the groom and the bride were purified. The meaning of the Kasok ritual is to keep away the spouses from bad spirits, because the hair are considered like to be of malefic influence. So this cutting is like a sort of keeping away the bad spirits. And this is the Petit Bac Vergnon, and this is the first rituals which belong to the tomb, to meet. Because in the past, during these rituals, for the first time, the bride reached the groom so they meet for the first time during the ceremony. Because as I told you before, they celebrate separately the ceremony.